reishi is just like the universal tonic, is what we like to call it in traditional Chinese medicine. And it really just supports that constitutional day-to-day, how do I get through my busy day kind of energy demands. So lion's mane, that's your smart mushroom. If you want to help your day-to-day nerve generative activity, support cognitive functioning, mood too, it supports balanced mood, nerve activity throughout your whole body. Like, look at that lion's mane as a daily ally for your health and wellness neurologically. And the preliminary data is just really beautiful. It's performing pretty much beyond what we expected it to.
Welcome everybody back to another episode. We're talking to our mushroom expert himself. Mr. Jerry Angelini is back for episode number 17 here on the Healthy Habit Podcast. And if you missed the first segment with Jerry, let me introduce him here. He's the Host Defense Head of Education. Mr. Jerry Angelini is an integrative practitioner with training and experience in psychiatric and chronic illness rehabilitation, and is the Host Defense Education Director. His undergraduate and graduate degrees from Boston University form the foundation of his conventional medical training, which is augmented by TCM Herbalism, Ayurveda and Western clinical herbalism. So Jerry's led the national science education team for Host Defense Mushrooms since 2012. We're going on 11 plus years here. Jerry,
Yeah,
thanks
I
for
know.
taking the time and coming back to talk to us as our mushroom guy. How are we doing, Jerry?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Doing good. And so
Good.
last time we spoke, we gave a little intro into the study of mycology and the
Yeah.
mycelium and what that is. Remember, we pulled up the images there to show how that where it grows and how these mushrooms come about and why they're so medicinal. So
Yeah.
I want to dive even deeper into today's segment on, first of all, where are you at right now with mushrooms and Host Defense as a company? Any new products hitting the shelves, and tell us about where the research is at as since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, so the research is coming along really beautifully. Though, as a company, we're looking at the capacity of lion's mane to support nerve generative activity. And we're using a human cell line currently. And the preliminary data is just really beautiful. It's performing pretty much beyond what we expected it to. We're using brain-derived neurotropic factor and retinoic acid, which is known to support nerve generative activity as well. And like currently, what we're seeing is that the host defense lion's mane in cell culture, so this is super preliminary data, um, appears to perform equally to brain-derived neurotropic factor and retinoic acid. So really beautiful, like preliminary data. It hasn't been published yet, so we're still working on a manuscript for that. But keep your eyes open. It does have really wonderful potential um, for the research in general. I mean, not even like does host defense mushrooms work, but just knowing more and more how mushrooms can benefit human health and wellness. So we love this kind of research. It's great for mycology. It's great for the health and wellness industry. And it's great for the mushroom world too.
In the bio where I just introduced you a few moments ago to start this episode, I mentioned the TCM herbalism. Give our listeners, what does that mean again exactly?
Yeah.
TCM herbalism.
Yeah. TCM is basically an acronym for traditional Chinese medicine. And most people are familiar with acupuncture. In traditional Chinese medicine, there are a couple of other branches associated with it, and one of them is traditional herbal interventions. And these herbal interventions, some of which have been in use for literally hundreds of years, include both herbal and mushroom ingredients in a number of very popular and long-standing what are called patent medicines. So these are formulas that have literally been used for centuries and have stood the test of clinical time.
Amazing, Jerry. So you mentioned lion's mane a moment ago there that you're, the research
Yeah.
that's up and coming, and tell us about the
Mhm.
different ways Host Defense offers that particular mushroom lion's mane. Is it standalone by
For
itself? Is
sure.
it part of different formulas? Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so lion's mane is it's a hot topic in the mushroom world, right? Host Defense, we grow lion's mane mycelium in fermented rice, but we also grow adult fruit bodies as well. In the capsules and in the powder preparations, you're getting the mycelium and the fermented rice. The preliminary data on that shows that it's immunologically active. It supports immune engagement, immune like modulatory activity. It supports growth factor and generative activity. And so we know that even the mycelium and that fermented rice is really quite functional and quite supportive to the to our bodies. We also do a liquid preparation, and the liquid is a complex extraction of the mycelium and the fermented rice and a hydroethanolic extraction of the adult fruit body. So we're doing basically it's a hydroethanolic extraction of the mycelium and the fruit body that's then combined. So if people want to get fruit body preparations along with that mycelium and fermented rice, we definitely would point you in the direction of the liquid extract.
Okay,
Um,
so that
and really, like, a lot of people say like which is better, and so for me, it's not so much which is better, but which are you going to take? Because like the liquid extract, it does have alcohol in it. It tastes like mushrooms, and a lot of people they don't like that. And if you buy the liquid and you don't take it, it's not going to do anything for you. So it's really better for you to take the capsule or use the powder, right?
okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that because I wanted to ask you about because I've heard that the fruit body is the only active part of the mushroom. So we're using a
Yeah.
combination of parts here of the mushroom. It's not just the
Yeah.
one that sticks above the ground that people typically think of when they hear a mushroom. So go ahead, tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so and this is a really important consideration. So not only do we know that the mycelium and the fermented rice are immunologically active, the most potent nerve generative compounds are found only in the mycelium. And these are what are called Erinacines. And when you do really specific tests, they're called high performance liquid chromatography or HPLC testing. You do not find Erinacines in fruit body material, period. Um, and the research, it's been going on for a good 15 years now. And the Erinacines are found solely in the mycelium. So, more and more data, we're getting more and more information. It doesn't mean that the fruit bodies aren't helpful. Let me be really
Sure.
clear about that because we know that fruit bodies do support a whole set of other processes in the body. They're actually eat fruit body, lion's mane fruit bodies. Like if you have access to like a store that has the fruit bodies, you can chop those up and saute them in like coconut oil or ghee or olive oil and eat them. And they're amazing prebiotics for our probiotic microflora. They support the gut immune response as well. So again, I want to be really clear. It's not one is better than the other, but what we're finding is that certain compounds that look at very specific activity are really found in the mycelium. So what we suggest for people to do is take the whole mushroom approach. That way you don't miss out any of the good stuff. And this is really important. We don't want you to miss out on any of the good stuff. So
Right. And you mentioned the Erinacines. Okay, so correct me if
yeah.
I'm wrong, but the botanical name, the scientific name for lion's
Right.
mane mushroom is Hericium erinaceus.
Yeah.
So that's where you're getting that term Erinacines. Can you elaborate a bit more?
Yeah, so whenever biochemists develop, or they don't develop, they discover a new compound, they got to figure out what to call it. And oftentimes, what they will do is they will take a derivative of the Latin binomial name and use that as a jumping off point for a compound that's specific to a natural product. So, like Ganoderma lucidum is reishi, and one of the compounds in Ganoderma lucidum is ganoderic acid. And you can see how they use the name right there to kind of create the name of the compound. And it's unique to that mushroom. So we know Erinacines are unique to lion's mane. They're not found anywhere else in nature. Pretty cool.
Fascinating. And you mentioned earlier the NGF, nerve growth factor,
Yeah.
correct? So tell us about that more a little bit. You mentioned that lion's mane plays
Yeah.
a role in synthesizing this NGF. What's that doing to our central nervous system?
Yeah, so we've got two major growth factors associated with neurological tissue. One's called nerve growth factor, and the other is called brain-derived neurotropic factor. And both of these factors are produced by our own tissue, and they trigger our stem cells, like the cells that are germinal, like the basic cells in our bodies, to mature into neurological tissue. They also trigger nerve cells to take part in their day-to-day generative reparative activity. So this is happening all the time in our bodies. It's part of our day-to-day upkeep that we have. And what we have found is these Erinacines and in particular some immune modulatory activity, these processes in our bodies that are supported by lion's mane then trigger brain-derived neurotropic factor and nerve growth factor release in our own system. So it's not that like the Erinacines turn into these growth factors. They actually support our own body tissues production and natural day-to-day generative and reparative processes.
Incredible. So, like you mentioned, we have the standalone lion's mane, there's capsules, tinctures, and then there's even the brain body formula. Is that correct?
Yeah, so
Tell us about that.
people love lion's mane. So we've got it in a lot of different products. You can find it in the Stammet 7 product. That's a great daily immune support. You can find it in the brain and body formula, and that's a powder. It's got lion's mane and reishi, which is it's been called the imperial tonic and supports a huge range of systems in your body. But it's accompanied by turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, and just a pinch of black pepper in there. And lots of people know the benefits of these herbs like turmeric and ginger and cinnamon. They support digestive health and blood glucose regulation, and they support really like immune modulatory activity, cognitive functioning, just lung health. I mean, they're really wonderful tonifying herbs. So pairing them with the lion's mane and the reishi, it's a great way to just support basically every part of your body and support optimal health and wellness.
Amazing, Jerry. So, you mentioned the black pepper. A lot of people in this natural health field think it's just going to be helpful for absorbing turmeric. So, why did you include that in this formula?
So yeah, most people know about black pepper as an absorption support. But one of the things that's really cool about black pepper is that it has a powerful impact on liver antioxidant activity. It's been shown to increase liver cells' capacity to detoxify metabolic, like day-to-day metabolic activity, and also increase liver cell functioning and liver cell um, health in general. So it has like a really powerful and amazing impact on liver functioning.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how versatile these mushrooms are, right? And as you mentioned, this goes
Yeah.
way back. It's big in Chinese medicine, the TCM.
Huge.
It's useful in so many different clinical
Yeah.
cases. Do you have any recent testimonials, maybe, or recent uses, or a case that comes to mind, or
No,
something you've
it's
used?
it's
I'm
a
sure you've
tough
run out.
one. Yeah. Like so many people like let us know that they find that the lion's mane products, like really all of them, like we have it in our greens formula, lion's mane along with moringa and nettle. It's in our brain formula along with bacopa and gotu kola. It's we've included it in our our coffee and matcha and cocoa drink mixes too. But what we hear really consistently from people is that it's really been like central in them feeling like their cognitive functioning has come back. People report that their memory feels sharper. They start to remember things that they'd forgotten like years and years ago. They start to remember things from their adolescence, like, the kid, they were like, I totally had forgotten about this
Hmm.
person that I grew up with. And like, I started taking the lion's mane, and about 3, 4 weeks later, I started like, I haven't thought about these people in decades,
Interesting.
and they like remember stuff. So like that's like everyone's going to respond very differently.
Hmm.
So don't think that like just because one person had a response that you're going to have it. It's really best to approach it with a really open mind and just say like, I want to support my cognitive functioning. I want to support my nerve health. Let's see what happens. And if we can take a an objective perspective as possible, we're all humans, right? And we all have hopes and expectations. But if we can kind of go in there with an open mind, and start some of these supplements and see what happens, that's a great way to not be disappointed, but also be pleasantly surprised when something really cool does happen.
A question I've gotten, Jerry, by several people over the last 4+ years is
Yeah.
why would it be helpful to use a whole mushroom product? For example, the brain body, the lion's mane reishi that you've mentioned in this interview, instead of just eating mushrooms on a salad, for example, like white button mushrooms or
Yeah.
shiitake mushrooms from the store.
Yeah, well, first of all, shiitake and white button mushrooms, they do not have any of the compounds that you would find in lion's mane.
Wow.
So, you're going to get some benefit. I'm a big supporter of increasing mushroom intake
Right.
every day. I think it's wonderful to have mushrooms in your food. Like I said, they're wonderful prebiotics. They support a really healthy gut microbiome. They also support all mushrooms do support uptake of a compound called ergothioneine. And ergothioneine is another antioxidant compound, really similar to glutathione. Every cell in your body has receptors for ergothioneine. And the research out there that's been growing is demographic, and it shows that people who eat mushrooms at least twice a week um, show better long-term health and wellness,
Right.
especially along cognitive functioning lines in general. So definitely eat your mushrooms every day if you can. Chop them up, pre-cook them, saute them in a really healthy fat, like coconut oil or ghee or olive oil. Sesame seed oil is another great cooking oil that has a lot of wonderful benefits and can tolerate fairly high heat. And then add them to your meals. When we look at the supplements versus eating mushrooms, the supplements are a little bit more specific, right? They're gonna be more focused in terms of how they might help various aspects of your health and wellness. And they're going to specifically support your gut associated immune response. And that's really important because about 70% of your immune system resides in your intestinal tract. So we know that the host defense products provide a full range of immune support in that gut associated immune tissue. And so if it's helping like get that immune system so that it's awake and active but balanced and functioning within normal limits, that's going to affect your whole body over time. So the better our immune system can be in terms of activity and balance and staying within its optimal range of functioning, the better our whole body can be.
Wow. So we have about 6 minutes to go here with Mr. Jerry Angelini. We're talking host defense mushrooms, everybody. Hostdefense.com, hostdefense.com out of Olympia, Washington. I remember watching a Joe Rogan interview with founder of Host Defense, Mr. Paul
Yeah,
Stamets, and they
yeah,
discussed the niacin lion's mane connection. It's actually honestly my favorite supplement. I've lost count on how many patients I've prescribed niacin because of its unbelievable benefits. I can list 35 benefits of niacin involved
yeah,
in 500 plus reactions in the human body. Do you have
yeah.
any other thoughts on that? On niacin and lion's mane? Any thoughts?
Yeah, we're doing some research on it. The preliminary data together show that there's some really excellent impact on neurite outgrowth. So again, that day-to-day nerve generative activity, it's they're trying to see if there's a synergistic response, but the research is being done out there. We still have to see what the results of that research is going to look like,
Right.
so it is ongoing. I think like niacin, and really like we know that a lot of the B vitamins, like especially like B12 and even you know thiamine and riboflavin, your B1s, B2, B3, like all of the B vitamins are really important uh, for just metabolic functioning, like optimal metabolic functioning. They support something called the Krebs cycle in your mitochondria that help create ATP and energy on a cellular level. And that cellular energy is really critical for our day-to-day reparative processes. And so I think, like, I know a lot of people really are looking at that niacin, and with good reason. I think there's a lot of benefit that's associated with it, specifically here in
Mhm.
combination with lion's mane. Um, and it's also important just to also know that like our body likes things when it's done in balance, right? And if we, make sure we're getting that thiamine and we're getting the niacin and the riboflavins and the methylcobalamin, which is your B12, and your folic acid, and you're getting all of those in balance, your body really, really thrives. So definitely work with your practitioner. If you're working with Dr. Dayon, that's awesome. He's super knowledgeable, and he can help you like make really informed decisions about how to use these substances together in formula too, to support that optimal metabolic functioning, optimal ATP formation, and just support our body's just day-to-day generative activity so we can function better every day.
Jerry taught me everything I know, folks. He's the guy. Thanks for that, Jerry. So again, going on 11 plus years here of being the national science educator on the team here at Host Defense Mushrooms. I want to know, they say once you hit that 10-year mark, you're officially like you're an expert. You need that 10,000 hours or the decade.
Wow.
What's your go-to on a regular basis here through Host Defense products? I'm gonna start. I'm gonna get it literally
Yeah,
right
I
this second.
mean,
I'm gonna
I
take one.
take lion's mane every single day, every
Okay.
day. I take reishi every day, and I also use cordyceps every day, and that's to help with like lung functioning and oxygenation. And you know, um, I'm at 54, almost 55 years old, and I travel a lot, and That cordyceps is great to make sure I have some really great energy as I go through my really busy days and sometimes really demanding days. So those are my three favorites, the ones that I take every single day. Um, and I think that those can be really excellent for a lot of people, especially if you're hoping to support like your oxygenation and your energy. Cordyceps for sure. Reishi is just like the universal tonic is what we like to call it in traditional Chinese medicine. And it really just supports that constitutional day-to-day, how do I get through my busy day kind of energy demands. So that's reishi. And then lion's mane. I mean, I get thrown questions all the time and I got to be quick on my feet. So, for me, that lion's mane and having that brain activity is really critical. So the three together, I think, work really, really well. And you can do like a gram or two of each a day. And if you're doing a gram of each, that's 3 grams a day. If you're doing 2 grams of each, that's 6 grams a day. And we know that even at 6 and even at 9 grams a day, host defense mushrooms are safe for use. There's no toxicity issues that have been found or associated with it. And so even at like significant amounts a day, and 6 grams a day is usually my upper limit.
Sure.
But like it's safe, it's supportive, it helps a huge amount of systems in your body.
Well, that kind of set the stage for our future episode, which is coming up probably in about a month or two. So stay tuned for that one, folks. He mentioned the lion's mane, cordyceps, and reishi as Jerry Angelini's daily go-tos. Today we'll title it like the lion's mane episode, since we talked a lot
For
about that
sure.
today. And
Yeah.
it's about 25, 27-minute episodes here on the Healthy Habit Podcast. So I think that makes sense to just break it down mushroom by mushroom as we go forward. Jerry, what do you think about that?
I love the idea. Let's
That's
do it.
amazing. So when I hear cordyceps, I think performance, stamina, energy.
Absolutely.
Is that a good way to think about cordyceps?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the revitalizing mushroom. So definitely to bring more vitality in
For
your life.
athletes, athletic performance, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Jerry, we've come to the tail end of the show today. Give us
Sweet.
a little recap, maybe 20 to 30 seconds for
Yeah.
customers. They're listening to this as we speak.
Yeah, so lion's mane, that's your smart mushroom. If you want to help your day-to-day nerve generative activity, support cognitive functioning, mood too, it supports balanced mood and nerve activity throughout your whole body. Like, look at that lion's mane as a daily ally for your health and wellness neurologically.
Jerry Angelini, everybody, host Defense Mushrooms. I always appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on board today.